Yeah, you win. Speaking of which, we're live. And on that note, hey guys, good evening. So I am broadcasting tonight from beautiful sunny Florida. We've got a hurricane hitting us here as we speak right now. Did I mention that there's a hurricane? Like it's
That's
right
what I
outside.
heard. That's what I heard.
Yeah, I have my husband holding the cable outside in a ring. Keep it up there, honey.
He's got a racket strap on the house.
I'm like, okay, we just got to get through the show tonight and then all the electricity can go out. We'll be good. We'll be good. All right, guys, I see some people jumping on board. As you come on board, you know the routine. Give me a shout out. Give my extremely special guest a shout out this evening. Y'all been seeing pictures of him plastered all over my Facebook because they were just amazing pictures and I had to share them. The one with the knight while you're being knighted, by the way, is
my God.
That is my sons saw that and they were like, we want to do that.
It's the most ridiculous ceremony I've ever been in.
It looks so cool, though. Maybe it was like a little knight right there. So I have like
basically, with a large man in a shiny suit with his hand on your shoulder. It's a feeling you'll never get back.
All right, we got Sandra on board. Carl, man, I'm so glad you made it. It's like your third week coming. Benny, hey, man, thank you for your service and happy birthday to the Marines. That's my Marine, my jarhead right there, Benny Cortez from Texas. Jarhead's in the house. That's right. We got Rhonda. We got Ashley. Ashley, with your Milk Ultra tonight, says thank you for your service. We got Bonnie on board from Tennessee drinking coffee milkshake. Awesome. Now, Daniel, I don't know if you can see on the right side of your screen. Hopefully you'll start to see some of these comments as well, so you can try to help me keep up. We got Rita on board. We got Damon. Damon is our other Eddie Sakin Airborne.
Right on. There he is. There it is. We've arrived.
Yes. Whoa. All right, we've got Carl John Collins on board. Now, where's my 101st? John, I know you're snooping around there somewhere. It's okay. You don't have to be embarrassed just because you're 101st. You can still participate tonight. Hey, Jamie, what's going on? We got Kevin. Kevin. See, I knew you'd want to be here tonight, Kevin. All right, guys. We have got a very nice crew on board this evening. We got Doug, Jody Stein from St. Louis. All right. Awesome. Damon's like, you know it. All right, guys, hang on. I'm trying to make sure I get all my messages here for this evening so I can see everybody. We got Mariela on board with a nice glass of wine. Very nice. All right, guys, let's start this night off right. Cheers to everybody. Raise your glasses, folks. And we are going to get started. So for those of you joining me for the first time, welcome. My name is CosiTalks. I'm a physical therapist, amputee specialist, and here in not so sunny Florida. And with me this evening, I have Sergeant First Class Daniel Metzdorf. So first, I want to say happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans out there. Thank you so much for your service from all branches of the military, most especially the gentleman, I'm pointing in the right direction, sitting right next to me. And my own personal, I always do it the wrong way, and my own personal favorite veteran, Lieutenant Colonel Jose Gonzalez, retired from the 82nd Airborne, my dad. So
right on.
Guys, thank you guys for your service. And as you jump on board this evening, if you served in our armed forces, please let us give you a shout out in the comments section, or if you had a close loved one, please let us give you a shout out. We really appreciate all the sacrifices made by our armed services. So thank you. Let's see. So this evening we are being sponsored by VitalFit, and I've been working with VitalFit now for the better part of 2020, and it has been an amazing partnership. They have amazing products that we're going to be talking about and having some free giveaways this evening. So a special thank you to them. When I found out that Veterans Day fell on a Wednesday, I was so excited, and they were immediately on board about supporting our troops and paying tribute to these very special men and women. So thank you so much to VitalFit. All right, Daniel, are we ready?
Let's do this.
Daniel, why don't you tell folks where you are right now?
Oh my goodness. So from 4 days of driving from Westport, Washington down to Yuma, Arizona currently. So my wife and I are full-time RVers, and we just pulled into Yuma, Arizona, home of Yuma Proving Grounds, and probably some of the best street tacos you'll ever have.
That does sound good. And you escaped Florida because you're kind of originally home base is Florida. Is that?
Yeah. So I'm a resident of Florida. We send in our absentee ballots, and since it's Florida, we get to vote twice. So good stuff. Just kidding. Yeah, that's a little Al Gore joke. Sorry about that. It was too easy. Too easy.
That was low hanging fruit, man.
It was. Come on.
But Florida actually had it together for this election, so
yeah. It did. We know how to count. It's a public education.
Now that we've all learned how to wash our hands with COVID, hopefully the counting will come next. All right, we're going to keep moving because this is just going to spiral down. This is going to go down. Let's go ahead and start with we're going to do our first giveaway tonight, guys. Those of you who have been on my show, you've seen Vital Fit before. And you know that with my show, one of my missions is to bring you options. All the different kinds of knees, different kinds of feet, different kinds of sockets, liners, all the different options that you have available. When it comes to skin, I break my own rules. After practicing for 18 years and having to recommend over-the-counter products, bag balm, Vaseline, I've had patients put Crisco on their residual limbs, just some of the most outlandish things, and none of them. I was so excited when Vital Fit came into the picture. It is a skin company that was designed specifically with diabetic skin and people who use prosthetics in mind. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about the different products before we get into Daniel's story. This is something I feel very strongly about. And it just so happens this week, I think I've had just a Vital Fit week. I've had so many people asking me for advice for their skin. I've given out these products to my patients on several occasions this past week, and it's worked beautifully. So we're going to start with our first giveaway this evening, guys. You guys know I love my scavenger hunts and my giveaways. All right, guys. We're going to be giving away a travel size kit. And with the travel size kit, you'll be getting the cleanser, the daily moisturizer, the liquid to powder, and the nighttime moisturizer. It's a really great way to trial out all their products and see which one or which ones will work for you. So first person to go to the Vital Fit Facebook page and follow them. Go. Wait, go. I'm trying to point and figure out where I'm pointing. All right, guys. So while we wait for that first winner to come in, hang on, just checking here. Kevin says, we appreciate y'all's military service for sure. All right, guys, let's just talk a little bit about the different products. We have the cleanser. So a lot of times you guys hear me talk about hygiene of the residual limb. Your leg is stuck in a hot, sweaty liner, in a hot, sweaty socket all day long, especially here in Florida. You're in Arizona, so it's a little bit drier right there. But
I'm a little drier. There's no humidity.
Just a little bit dry. But
smaller bugs, too. So.
Yeah, hot and sticky Florida. So with the cleanser, what I like about it is it's very hypoallergenic. It's not made with any harsh chemicals, but it is strong enough to kill the bacteria, kill the sweat, kill the odor on your skin and inside the liner. And that's something I'm a real stickler about with my patients, is teaching them how to keep their liners clean so that their skin can stay nice and healthy. If your skin isn't healthy, guys, you're dead in the water and you're gonna have a lot of problems using your socket. And Daniel's gonna be telling us a little bit about that when he tells his story. Okay, then we have the two different moisturizers. The daytime moisturizer is meant to keep the skin healthy, prepare it for the prosthesis, helps prevent friction and shearing within the socket, those problems that can cause breakdown, blistering, wounds, and all that kind of stuff. The liquid to powder, that's kind of my favorite, guys, especially for my runners and my really active, sweaty folks. This liquid to powder goes on so smoothly and it doesn't get all gummed up like some of the other liquid to powder lotions I've seen out on the market. So this is great, especially if you have any hot spots. And then finally, at the very end of that system, you have the nighttime moisturizer. And guys, it's basically meant to just bring your skin back to health, make it nice and happy overnight. Lots of antioxidants, lots of things to basically just make your skin go and get it ready for the next day. So guys, it's meant to be used as a system. I have patients who use all four products. I have patients who use one or two, different times of the day. But basically, I recommend this to all of my patients. And this is not something you can rarely, this is something that you can rarely do with any particular product. And I also recommend that people use it on the rest of their skin. And Daniel and I were having this discussion earlier, where we were talking about just the importance of not only using it on your residual limb, but also using it on the rest of your skin to keep it healthy.
Yes, awesome kit that works on every part of your skin. If you have if you're an active person, this kit will help you with any kind of chafing, any kind of a moisturizing, any kind of one. It's the best thing that I found was all the scars that I have and just putting it on the scar line and everything. It's just it. I kind of thought it was a gimmick at first. I've been sent creams before, and so I heard from a great friend of mine that this stuff really works when you use it. And I started noticing it first couple of days after I started using it. Yeah, I didn't use the whole kit. I started using just a moisturizer at night. I jump out of the shower, I put it on my scar line and everything, and I'm telling you what, that dryness, that tight stuff all went away, and it feels so much better now.
And it doesn't require much, guys. That's to me, it's a telltale sign
No.
of a good quality product. You just have to put a little bit in, and it soaks in right away and very nicely. So, guys, you still have a chance. We started our first giveaway, and we're going to be doing our second one pretty soon. The first giveaway is first person to follow Vital Fit on Facebook will win a travel size kit. And we also have another one coming up. I'm going to put the link up right now, guys. What is Bob wearing? Bob is actually wearing my dad's old military hat. And I'm actually wearing I stole this off of my dad when I was visiting from college one year. So I've had this for a very, very, very long time. I won't say how many years ago that was. So now my kids love to play with this, and my daughter steals this from me. So that's what Bob is wearing this evening in honor. All right, so Daniel, you have an amazing story, and you tell it. I haven't stopped laughing since we started our conversation. So tell us about your early childhood, because it's just a beautiful.
Okay.
Go ahead. Shut up. Just go ahead.
Okay. So I grew up in a large family. There's 10 of us, 9 boys, 1 girl. Big military family. So my father was on active duty during Vietnam. So he was a crypto geek in the Air Force. I say that in a very nice way. He's a very smart man. 7 of us were on active duty at one time, 4 of us in the same combat zone at one time. But growing up in such a large family, I'm 6'1", and I'm number 6 in line, and I'm one of the smallest. So there was times that obviously we had disagreements, but my father always had a way of helping us work through these disagreements, and not in like a nice way either. He bought us boxing gloves. So we kind of thought to ourselves, okay, we can use these boxing gloves. No. He's a lot smarter than that. He only bought us 1 pair. So we had to flip a coin if we were right-handed or left-handed, and we put on that 1 boxing glove, and we'd hold our shorts with the other hand, and we'd go at it for, it only took about 3 minutes because you were so tired swinging that arm in it. But the boxing glove was oversized. It was humongous. And so that's how we kind of handled disputes with having so many boys in the house. Of course, my sister was guarded like she was, like Secret Service was around her. So.
Where was she in the line? I'm curious. Was she number 10?
She was number 2. So she was like our second mom. But the cool thing about having an older sister is she could tell you, oh, you're going out on a date? Yeah, don't wear that. Oh yeah, and don't say that either. Like no one says that, And so I'm gonna say she helped us out a lot. But it was so nice because having such a tight knit family and going into the military, you already knew how to pull your own weight. You already knew, as soon as you wake up in the morning, it's time to get going. So I think that large family definitely prepared me for the Army. Totally did.
Wonderful. And then, Daniel, I'm going to stop for just a moment. We have our first winner this evening, Tom Mcintyre. Tom Mcintyre, thank you for following Vital Fit on Facebook. Tom, after the show is done, please send me your mailing address so that we can send you out the travel size kit. So at what age, how old were you went into the military, Daniel?
Ooh, nice question. Wow, that's going to set me back. So I was 17. So I started school really early, which was kind of a funny story because so me and my brother Josh were so close in age and we're so close as little kids that when he went to school, I was like so afraid for him, and I was always there as a little brother to like watch over him. And so as my parents used to tell the story that I would cry all the time, which Okay, I'm sensitive. I get that. But I would cry all the time because he was at school and I wasn't with him. So the very next year, Florida let 4-year-olds go to kindergarten. So we're always 2 years in age, but 1 year in school. So I graduated at 17. So my parents had to sign the little form so I could go into basic training and stuff. But I started early, but I think that helped me because I think that having very mature, very supportive brothers and sister and parents that were, I was ready to go. And I think that my parents were ready for me to go. Maybe that is probably more honest. Yeah, I think they needed me to leave the house. I think I went to the recruiter in uniform. Like, I'm not even joking. I was such a nut. I was, yeah, like at 4 years old, I asked my dad if I could have camo face paint and like a gun, and I think I got like a canteen cup or something. It wasn't even like it's not even sharp. Like I couldn't kill anything with that. But I was so gung ho. I like Rambo and GI Joe. Like they, that was my recruiting. I loved it. I walked up to the recruiter and I was like, so you got something with like dirt and like machine guns and stuff. They're like, oh yeah. Yeah, we have this new thing called the infantry. It's nice. It's everyone's gonna love you. And so yeah, so I joined early on, and it was everything I wanted it to be. Everything.
Now, how did you become one of
Oh
the great
gosh.
people who jump out of perfectly good airplanes?
All you got to do is raise your hand. You just raise your hand. They let you do it. You go through. You go through a little school called Airborne School down in Fort Benning, Georgia. Gorgeous place, not hot at all, not humid. I advise people to move there. It's very nice. But being in the Army, I took it as like every day was like a challenge. And when I joined, if you weren't doing the right thing, like you were fired, like you were gone. Like it was and I probably put a lot of stress on myself, but I always wanted to do the next thing. I always wanted to, hey, that sounds like that'll suck. I want to do that. I want to do it first. And sometimes it didn't work out. Sometimes, it didn't work out well for me at all, but, I loved the challenge of it. And I loved how you kind of, you made your own map. You made your own career map, but every once in a while I'd lift my head up and I'd look around, and I was serving with titans. I was serving with like superheroes, and it amazed me that I was allowed to be there. And even right now I'm so psyched. It's it is I was just honored to be with the people that I got to serve with. And it was so great that every time I looked around, I had someone else to look up to, and I had someone else to learn from. Every day you're picking up a new skill, a new part of your craft. And it got better and better every day. And a lot of people could look at my career and be like, wow, you were at Fort Bragg for a long time. That does not sound like fun at all. Of course not. Of course not. No, it was amazing, amazing. And once we started to deploy, I think that I never looked at it as, hey, you're going to war. I never, I don't even know if that term it is the right term to use, really, because it's like coach is putting me in. I don't have to deal with the politics back home or who really sent us there. My coach, like my boss, got me off the bench and said, hey, you're up, brother. Let's go. So I just think that part really drove me because I was so focused on doing the job, and I loved every bit of it.
That's amazing. We got Tom Mcintyre saying good evening and thank you for your service. And guys, I am Jamie. For whatever reason, my computer's deciding not to cooperate. Would you be able to post the link to the testimonials, please, Jamie? You don't know, but I have a gremlin that lives in my computer, and it always waits until I have to do something, and that's when it starts doing and getting into my. So right now it's not letting me post anything. So Jamie's going to hopefully post a link for us pretty soon. So Daniel, tell us a little bit for the civilian folks out there. Tell us a little bit about the 82nd Airborne. That's where my father was. He was born in Fort Bragg, so I take great pride.
Well, This is going to get serious. All right, so the 82nd Airborne Division is the largest airborne unit of its kind and the only airborne unit of its size that can deploy within 18 hours or less to any part on planet Earth, fight and win upon arrival. It's not from Hallmark. This is coming down on you, okay? This is just a delivery system. We use anything from C-17 Globemaster 3 to some C-130s, and it's just like FedEx dropping mad people with machine guns on top of you. I'm just kidding. We're actually very happy when we're jumping.
But you're still mad.
It's
you're so crazy.
Yeah. It's think of the kind of like the special ops world where you have certain DoD assets that are like a scalpel. The 82nd Airborne Division is the chainsaw. Like, it's going to make the cut, but it's going to be loud. It's going to be messy, but it's going to demoralize everyone in that region. And the best thing about the 82nd Airborne Division is it's everyone. It doesn't matter what unit you're in the 82nd. If you get on the ground and there's someone else from the 82nd, even out in the civilian world, you get these things called LGOPs, little groups of paratroopers, and oh my gosh, we could take over a small island if we wanted to. If there's 4 of us, it's like Chicago's gone, kind of thing.
It's my father is 71, and when he gets together with his 82nd Airborne buddies, it's bad. It's bad. So folks, Jamie went ahead and posted for us the link to our next giveaway. So I know some of you are disappointed you didn't get that Facebook like in fast enough. So here's your chance, guys. You're going to click on the testimonials link and tell me what is the name of the first person who put in a testimonial. Go. Who's the Quick Draw McGraw? No, are you kidding me, Daniel? When they told me so Greg was the one who put me in touch, Vital Fit, and Greg Menino put me in touch with you. And they were just like, yeah. Greg was like, we got this guy. He's from the 82nd Airborne. He's a Golden Knight. I'm like, like fangirl here.
Greg is awesome. Amazing guy. He would literally give the shirt off his back. I think might be his shirt. But he's such a great friend of mine. But I'm telling you, just how he works with patients, how he helps veterans, and he does so much. It's unbelievable. One, he's way too nice and he's way too humble. So I thought it was a con at first, because I was like, how is this guy this nice? Like, come on, and one, yes. Greg is amazing, and I think that probably one of the best prosthetists I've ever met, and he's a great friend of mine. I love the guy.
All right, so we've got Jody. Yes, you are absolutely correct, Jody. It was Kay who put in that first testimonial. So congratulations, Jody. Jody, please send me a message with your address and we'll be sure to get you your travel size kit. So congratulations, Jody. And thank you, VitalFit, for providing that. Guys, stick around. We're going to have one more giveaway towards the end of the show. So we're not done with you yet. So you're in the 82nd Airborne. You get deployed.
Yeah. Just to answer one of the comments, yes. I think Ashley Martin is talking about where she lives, all she hears about is the 101st. Well, the 101st hasn't been airborne since World War II. Like, that's cute that they keep it on their patch. I'm just joking. 101st is great. They are amazing teammates of ours. It's just, let's let the airborne thing go. Like, we've got it from here. Just kidding. The 101st is great.
You got patients who are 101st, and it's like I told you, right? The guy comes into my clinic and he's wearing the 101st hat, and I make extra squat holds for walking to my clinic. It's all good, man.
So I deploy a few times with the 82nd, and on one of the deployments, I was there for 10 days. And we are doing just a routine night patrol. I get hit by a roadside bomb. 3 of my guys are KIA. 3 of us are wounded. I have a brick-sized hole where my right knee used to be. And when we get to Baghdad, we're about 55 miles south of Baghdad. When we get to Baghdad, they don't have any more blood left. A few hours before that, there was a mass casualty event, and all the A positive blood was used up. And I was A positive along with someone else. And the doctors, the nurses, the helicopter pilots, the guards, the medics just started giving their own blood. So from start of injury, everyone worked as a team. No one asked, hey, is this okay to give this blood? Are we going to test this blood first? Are we going to do this? No, it was, this is what has to happen right now. And they did everything to keep me alive. I had 9 units of untested blood from people from just walking around. They were like, hey, are you A positive? Just come on up, But it was so crazy. The team that put me back together and the team that said, hey, this is what has to happen right now. If we're going to keep him alive, we have to do this. And there was so much stuff that happened during that night that I found out later on, experimental things that happened that have never been done before, just to keep me going. So I woke up in Germany and I didn't have my right leg. And the chaplain came over. He was this old colonel. He walked over. He's like, hey, son, I just want to tell you, they had to amputate your right leg above the knee. And I kind of sighed a little bit. I was like, did they use like a hacksaw? I got like meaty thighs. What did they use? And so he looks down at my paperwork, and on your paperwork, they have a Ziploc bag because they take your patches off your stuff before they take your uniform. So it's got an 82nd patch and my last name, and that's it. And then it's just, and he's like, oh, I should have known, paratrooper. Of course, I'm going to hear that crap from you. And he walks out of the room he was like, whatever, you're good. Like, you're going to be okay. And I was about to get on the plane to go to Walter Reed, and they hand me the tiniest phone in the world, tiniest cell phone to call my father. And I asked if my dad could meet me at Walter Reed. And so I call him, and I have this long conversation with him, but I really didn't. It was in my mind. As soon as he picked up the phone, I had a pulmonary embolism and a blood clot went to my lungs, and I stopped breathing. And so the nurse grabbed the phone, was like, he's not going to make it, and like hung up, but meant he's not going to make it to Walter Reed. And so they're beating on my chest and open me up and, get me breathing again. And my dad's standing there at the airport thinking what's going on. So I arrive at Andrews Air Force Base, and they bus me over to Walter Reed, and my dad's standing there, and just a look on his face. He was like, Daniel, you look like hell. Like, and what took you so long? Like, I thought you guys were like on time. Like, I'm glad your mother's not here. And like I kind of had this guilt trip.
Free does it. Let's
yeah. I was like, oh my gosh, you kidding me? So my dad and one of my brothers, John, that lives and works in the area with the State Department, he's there, and he's like, this looks really bad. Wow, I'm glad mom's not here. We are not going to tell mom about this, right? So I'm thinking, jeez. Okay, I get it. I am a mama's boy. I know they don't want to have mom come out there. I'd be a wreck, and so my dad reaches into his coat and pulls out, I still have it over here, and it's a McDonald's toy. It's Simba. It's like the little Lion King Simba with the arms out like this. Yeah. And so my dad looks right at me and says, your mother says she loves you this much. And it, like, I don't care who you are. It took everything I could just to hold it together. And I come from such a loving family, and I so needed my mom right then, but you can't say, I was like, yeah, by the way, I probably need to shave. I'm back on U.S. soil. I was trying to be all tough guy. Like, I got shrapnel in me, and I was like, there's something in my eye too. God, yeah. But it was seriously.
You saying I want my mom.
yeah. I tell you, I was like, here's a note. Please go get my mom. Yeah. But I was taken care of so well. In the first, they told me in the first 50 days of my care, I spent, well over $1 million, And so if you start thinking about what insurance you have, like what kind of healthcare insurance you have, like I don't have to pay any copays. I don't have to fight with what doctor I was going to go to. No, people did everything they had to do. I had my teeth blown out. Um, After they would do a surgery on my leg, they took me to dental and put all new teeth in. You know, they thought of the patient as a whole, and they wanted to make sure that you were comfortable the entire time. Walter Reed is where miracles just happen, you know, and I kind of love it that I was sitting in my hospital bed and there was protesters outside the hospital. And I was watching TV, and one of my surgeons is walking out of the hospital, and one of the protesters came up to him, and you can see he's just worn out. Well, this guy looks like a linebacker, and so he looks over at these protesters and he was like, "I'm just working to just put Americans back together. I don't know why you're out here. Like, there's a house down the street if you want to protest down there, but these these men and women need some rest. So if you could keep it down." And right then, the lights went off, the drumming and the music, everything stopped, and they like moved out of his way, and he walked to his car peacefully, and you know, and totally went home. And I think once people get educated on, hey, we're just doing our job like everybody else. I don't think the military is any better than any other job. We're just a spoke on the wheel that keeps America going. I was just lucky enough to be in the military. I don't think everyone should serve. I'm glad it's a volunteer force because it's something you have to love. You got to feel it. You got to love it. It's got to be a calling. And I think that's why what's so great about our force is that it's an all volunteer force. And if you want to do 3 years, that's awesome. Thank you. Please, thank you for doing 3 years. If you want to do 20 years or 35 years, that's amazing. But it's all volunteer. And I think that's the best part of our military.
It is. And then we got one of your fellow, 101, John Carlson, saying, "Thanks for your service, brother." Hooah.
Thank you.
And guys, many of you have heard me reference about my father being in the military, and all the sentiments, all the passion that you see in Daniel Metzdorf. This is the kind of community that I grew up in as an Army brat. And it's a beautiful feeling of pride in your nation, pride and service to your country, regardless of which side of politics you fall on. You kind of come together and you do what's needed for your country, and also the teamwork. And as a clinician, I got a chance to work in Brooke Army Medical Center over in San Antonio, nice. Fort St. Houston, Texas. Haven't been right yet, but I do want to go there. And again, getting to tour that facility. I started there when I was 14 as a volunteer, as a little snot-nosed volunteer. And then I got to revisit it again when I was a big bad, licensed PT, and got to see it through those eyes. And again, it was just that awe of seeing, okay, whatever needs to happen here happens. And if the guy in bed 3 is not doing what he needs to do to get his rehab together and get his thing going, the entire unit is in there pulling his butt out of bed to go do the rehab, go to the physical therapy. And that it's a cliche, but it's true. No man left behind, Mm-hmm. So yeah, this is reason number 263. I love the military. So, what happened after, you go through this intense process, and it didn't stop. Not where your story ended.
Yeah, no, I kind of wish now it did in there. There's a lot more work after that. No, so I really thought with the technology that we had, once I started wearing my prosthesis, and once I started really getting a handle on why those physical therapists were really working, they beat me something fierce, like worse than SEER schools. It's amazing. But no, it's once you start seeing what your body can actually do with the prosthetic devices of today, that's when I started thinking, hey, I pulled one of my doctors aside and I said, hey, is there any way like an amputee can stay on active duty with the Army? He's like, well, yeah, but not you. Like you have this short little nub, this tiny little nub with a short little 4-inch femur. And no, like if it was like a BK, that was like a long BK and they could do everything, then maybe, but there's no way, bud. We didn't even think you were going to walk again. And I was like, well, that's real positive. Thanks for being in my corner on that one. But no, so it started with that question. And then I started talking to my physical therapist and my prosthetist, and they were like, well, what do you want to try to do? Like, do you want to try to do everything you used to do? And I said, yeah. So we started doing everything. And I wanted to know what it took to stay on active duty. And the problem with that is the regulations are so outdated that an amputee would have to go through exactly what a normal person would have to go through MEPS, to go through your normal physical fitness test, to do everything like that. So we started training for that. So I did everything, and I couldn't get the rundown yet because I just wasn't there with my prosthetic. It was just too hard. I had the best trainers in the world. I had, the like ninjas of physical therapy and running. I went down to Miami and just amazing people. And so it took so much longer. Well, my medical boards came up and they were like, "Hey, we're gonna medical board you out of the Army." And so I go to my first medical board and I said, "Hey, look how close I am. Like, I'm doing all this stuff. Y'all have trained me for so long. So don't you think you want to keep your investment? And I could teach maybe, or I could be an instructor or something like that." And they were like, "Nope, see you later." And they stamped my packet. And so I read through the rules and I was like, "Wait a second, I get like an appeal, right?" They're like, "Yeah, come back in like 2 weeks. You can have your appeal." So I called everyone I knew. And so I called the commander of the 82nd Airborne Division, General Caldwell. Well, I met General Caldwell while he was working on staff at the Pentagon. He was doing physical therapy with the person he was working with at Walter Reed. He started throwing a medicine ball with me one day, and I saw that he had a 2505 crest on his uniform. And so I was like, "Oh, hey, sir, how you doing?" So just a normal 2-star general and all of his uniform, just in physical therapy. And I'm just wearing like, Ranger panties and a sweaty T-shirt, and I'm throwing this stuff back and forth. And I was like, "So what's going to be your next posting?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to be the a commander down at Bragg." And I said, like what unit? He said, "Oh, I'm going to be the 82nd Airborne Division commander." And I was like, "Oh crap, like what have I told this guy?" like this is gonna be like the boss of bosses, like this is. And so I was like, "Well, sir, I've got a question for you. I want to stay on active duty." He was like, "Okay, how can I help?" So once he became the commander, he came up to the board and spoke for me, and they said, nope, you're not, you can't stay on active duty." So I trained and trained more, and there's a one last ditch effort, which is the formal appeal. And you have to be like in your dress uniform. There's a whole bunch of rules to it. So I go into this thing and I don't even get to speak. They basically read my packet, and the same doctor's on the other side of this table. And he's like nothing has changed. Like, you want to go back to be a paratrooper because we can't reclass you as the regulations state. We can't reclass you. Can't do any of that stuff because you're going to have to go back doing your job. Like, are you aware of that? Like, so we're going to say no. Like, and I was crushed. I was so crushed. I start packing all my stuff up from Walter Reed, and I'm driving home to Fort Bragg, and so my phone rings, and I had a cute flip phone at the time, I think from Cricket or something. So I answer it, and there's this nice lady on the other side was like, "Hey, could you hold for the secretary?" And I said, "Yeah, okay, hold for somebody's secretary. Yeah, sure, ma'am," kind of thing. And I was sarcastic and just bitter. And this gentleman gets on the phone, and he's like, "Hey, so we've met before, but I haven't talked to you like this. So this is Don Rumsfeld. How you doing?" And I was like Secretary Rumsfeld? And he was like, "Yeah. So do you really want to stay on active duty?" And I was like, "Yes, sir, I do." He said, "All right, we're going to send you some forms, sign them, and let's get back to work, okay?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I sure will." And so I went down to Bragg, signed some paperwork, stayed on active duty. About 6 months after that, I started packing up to go back to Iraq. And that's when everything changed for me. I was learning how to be on battle staff, and I was learning how to work officers and stuff like that. And I got orders from the Army, and it's like a formal thing, like get orders, and it's over. And I'm like, whoa. So I go to my commander. I was like, "Hey, I got these orders, and they want me to go to the U.S. Army parachute team. Like, what's going on with this?" And they were actually very upset that I was leaving, and they were like, whatever, man, like whatever deals you made. So I was pretty upset to leave the 82nd and go over there. And so I walk in the first day to the Golden Knight headquarters, and there's a gentleman standing there with a black flight suit on because that's what they wear because it's cute. So I tap on his shoulder. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to need one of these, probably in XL." And he turns around, and it's the commander of the unit. It's Lieutenant Colonel Dave Standridge, and he stares at me. He goes,
"Way to
"The
go.
Sergeant Major is going to love you, kid." And I was like, "Mother." But that's not the best part of that story. Is they take me up to go jump, to go skydive. And I'm sitting there and I'm all over the sky and they're holding on to me and parachute. They, hold the parachute and they're holding, everything's going crazy. I land like I slide in on the grass and my helmet's all fogged up because I'm yelling and screaming the entire time and I'm laughing and everything. And so I take my helmet off and they're like, "You're not good at this at all." And I'm like, "Yeah, I've never done this. This is amazing. This is
I just read the manual.
This is great. I want to do this forever now, So so the Army wanted me to go on the Golden Knights to share my positive story, to get the public to wrap their head around how well we're taking care of our men and women in uniform that were injured. And I get it. I don't think I was put out there or poster child or anything like that. I think someone needed to be that voice. And it was so much fun going around and talking about the team that put me back together, because it definitely wasn't me. And it was so many other people that did their jobs to the max to get me to where I am.
And guys, it's not, I watched my dad train for the 82nd Airborne. I mean, he was a beast because the physical demands are incredible to do this and to be functioning at such an elite level like the Golden Knights. Tell us a little bit about what the physical requirements were so people can really get an idea here.
So being in the unit of the USR parachute team, the Golden Knights, doesn't mean you're a knight, which I didn't know that either. So you have to go through Golden Knight assessment selection. It's a 6-week program, and I was never supposed to go through it. I was never supposed to go into it because there was no way I could do it. There's no way I could do it with my prosthetic, anything like that. So I start training up, and I'm working with the tandem team. So I was the tandem team coordinator, which sounds like a horrible job, but let me tell you what. Think about everyone that gets tandem jumped by the Golden Knights. Everyone from former presidents to superstars to being on the Make It of a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader show. It was horrible. It was like being face down in the mud. It's a tough job. No, so it was so awesome because I took that job, learning how to jump out of planes from over 2 miles above the Earth's surface and land like a feather and land on target and stuff like that. And I wasn't awesome at it at that time by any means. I wasn't good, but I had the best people training me, and I loved managing the tandem team because it was like they were the rock stars and I was like the band manager and I was getting them their gigs. And it was so crazy, not like an Army unit. And you had to like pamper them because some of them like to be woke up at this time and someone wanted to know where the gym was, or someone needed their tips frosted before they went out and jumped or had any pictures taken, or someone like this kind of soda in the van and the AC needed to be turned. It was so crazy just learning how to manage like that type of unit, because it is the premier marketing and advertising unit for the Army, because you've got, the Navy with the Blue Angels and the Air Force has the Thunderbirds. Like we have the Golden Knights. And so it's that moth to the flame type thing to get people interested in the Army. And then you land and you tell your Army story. And so doing that kind of job was amazing. And then the boss came up to me one day and was like, "Hey, you're going to tryouts." And I said, "Yeah." So most people go through tryouts as like a E4 and E3 or whatever. So I'm going to go as an E7. And I was like, "Yeah, I outrank the people doing tryouts. So how do you think this is going to work out there, bub?" And he's like, "Hey, act accordingly. So I was like, all right.
Right.
So we're doing 15 jumps a day before noon. You're packing your own
Oh my
parachute. It is crazy. It was
God.
I'm pretty sure I blacked out for 2 weeks of it. I think so. It was so tough. It was um,
Teen
I've
Jump Day? That's
I've
insane.
been through Special Forces assessment selection, and this was just a different type of pain, just a different type of hurt. It was because you're so focused on 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 everyone else around you. Because at at 12,500 feet, it gets a little dodgy up there. Okay. Like, and you're jumping out with not just yourself, there's everybody jumps out. So you're putting together formations, things like that. And you're flying through the air 120, 140 miles an hour. And it's really cool, but it takes a lot of work. Like uh, these demonstration parachutists they're amazing. The ones that are on the team right now have worked so hard to get where they are. They are amazing. Like it just takes so much work, and it's not like you just fall out of a plane and it looks good. No, you have
No.
to do thousands of jumps to get there, thousands. And so think about doing 15 jumps a day in a 6 week period. It's 7 days a week. It was the toughest thing. So I was the first above the knee amputee to ever go through trials, to ever successfully become a knight. And it was all because I had the best trainers in the world. I had the best equipment. I could just say, hey guys, this is what I need. And the prosthetic community came through for me. Otto Bach was such a huge force behind that. But the best people surrounding me. And thinking about having a great team, like there's been so many times where you think to yourself, like, who's on your team? Like, who's got your back? And I've known my whole life that ever since I went to the Golden Knights, so I met this lady, Kristen, and so we were friends for years and years and years. And we're best friends through horrible events and through hard times and stuff like that. But she always had my back. And so I married her. She said yes. But it's just one of those things like you look back in your life, like what really matters, and the people that have your back, the people that will always be there for you. I think that's what Veterans Day is really all about. You start thinking about that time when you served and that time where you could really trust everyone around you. And then that veteran enters their community and they make that bond with everyone else around them. So whether they're veterans or not, that's that new chapter that you have to take. And I think having the best team around you at all times and having people that you can trust and um, that you can count on every day, it's important.
Got nothing with that one. Got nothing with that one. You've got a lot of people here who are just like when I don't see comments, I know it's because people are just going like this listening, just like I would.
I'm sorry if I'm talking too long. I'm sorry.
No, not at all. You're fascinating to listen to. And Rhonda was like, "You're really funny." I was like, "Rhonda, you have no idea how funny this guy is."
So I didn't want to tell this story about being an amputee. So there's a couple nuances of being an amputee that a lot of people don't understand. So there's things that an amputee can't do. Okay. But there's things an amputee can do. All right. So if I needed to fit into a smaller place or something, I could just take my leg off. Okay. I can crawl through something a little easier. But people treat you different as an amputee. Um, um, for example, I was walking one day and this nice lady came up to me and was like, "Hey, are you an amputee?" And I had jeans on. Most of the time I have shorts on, but I had jeans on that day. And I was like, "Yeah." So I kind of thought she was like a physical therapist or she was an amputee herself or something like that. And she was like, "Hey, you show me your prosthetic, I'll show you mine," and just being funny. And so I thought, hey, that's unique. I'm a new amputee. Maybe this is a club that I'm in now. So I pull up my jean pant leg and I show her, I'm like, "Oh, I have this." And this was early on. So I had the C leg and I was talking about the computer in it and how much battery life it had and all the cool stuff. And she's like, "Well, these are so these are my prosthetics, and just pulls her shirt up. And I was like, okay, yeah, sure. That's weird. So, so
Okay.
I, so I was thinking to myself, this is what happens at Target. Like, and so I don't, I don't get it, but it is a club. People will come to you and say, hey, I've got a brother that's an amputee, or my dad's an amputee. I want you to come to the house with me and look at his leg for me. And I'm like, wait, I'm not like, this is not a club. I don't know him. Like, we don't travel in packs or anything. Like, we don't like get in the same van or anything like that. Or it's just, you do have to, your life does change as an amputee, but sometimes it changes for the most unique ways. It really does.
I
Yeah,
cannot.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You wouldn't think that, but that happens. That is a true story that actually happened.
Were you like,
But
is my wife taking a picture somewhere?
yeah, I was like, this
All
kind of
right.
camera? Is this kind of camera? What is this? Is this one of those John Quinones, like, what would you do type thing? And so, of course, I was like, well,
Not
it's not the sea leg, but okay. I was like, all right, that's great, great work. I just kind of, I just, good stuff. Hope you're doing well. So yeah. So I was on a socket for about 13 and a half years. So I was on a normal prosthesis with a socket and a liner. So I used the double wall system because of how I needed to have my legs stay on when I was in free fall. And I would use a belt too sometimes.
how did you keep that on? Like duct
Well, no, so I would use a belt, like a running belt. And so I would put that on my socket, put it on my waist, and put my jumpsuit over that. It fell off one time, and it goes into a million pieces once it falls off. But the funny thing is when you land with one leg and just kind of sit on your butt, your buddies will be like, "No, he's okay. Don't go get him. He's just joking. He's pulling your leg. Like, he's got one leg up on And they got all the leg jokes. They're very cute. It's a fun time. No, it's so having a socket for that long. That is where a product like Vital Fit is one amazing because all the problems you have inside of your liner. The thing about it, you're inside your liner all day with your skin just kind of just chomping away, and that's the part where I want people to think about how just the chafing and shearing and everything like that Vital Fit can help out with. But also, if you have any other skin problems, it helps with that as well. I'm just saying the extreme level for socket use. But after I got out of the military, my sockets just weren't fitting. I was having a lot of problems. So I elected to be in a program for Walter Reed to get an implant. And so I was one of the first to get the compress implant in the shortest bone there is. So they put a compress implant in my femur. And so now I don't wear a socket anymore. It's been about 3.5 years, I guess, now, since I've had the implant in, and that's definitely changed my life. But it's been a total teamwork. There's no way that I could have done it without my wife. There's no way I could have done it without the team, because it was so hard. Think about how tough you were in your teens and early 20s. How about doing a surgery that's that involved when you're 40? Like, think about, and oh my gosh, I was not tough anymore. It wore me out something fierce. It is definitely a tough surgery. It is a lot more physical therapy than I ever thought. I thought, because I've been to physical therapy before, that they'd take it easy on me. Like, I had like my card, like I've got all the punches on it. Like I get a free sandwich and a cookie when I show up or something like that. But that's not how it is. It was so much work to learn how to walk again. And I get it. The amazing technology that went into it it is so awesome, but it takes so much work from the patient. It really does. But having a lifestyle where you can just put your leg on at any time, never use crutches, and just live your life how you want to live it. And that quality of life stuff that's where it's at. Being able to sit on your butt instead of sitting on a carbon fiber socket. being able to wear normal clothes instead of this big carbon fiber socket sticking out. You have to wear jeans that are a little bigger, shorts a little bigger, or whatever, because you're not allowed to walk around naked anymore. Crazies. Thank you. Way to go, hippies. No, it's just it's. I think by doing the osseointegration, it was such a team effort and something that we had to really think about for a year, and then finally had it done.
And this is something that we covered on the show actually last year, the osseointegration. We're going to
start
seeing it a lot more in the US. And like any of these procedures or techniques that we've discussed on the show, it's a game changer, but it's also meant and you were pretty much that very specific candidate, someone
it's
a lot of chronic problems with their socket. And
it's a tough surgery, but it's definitely, I do think it's the next evolution in prosthetics.
And we're starting to see more of it, but I think you also hit the nail on the head when you said the success comes with the team approach.
I couldn't do it on my own.
Yeah, and that's one thing I'm happy about what I'm seeing with osseointegration in the US is that the US surgeons are pulling that entire team together and really making sure that the patient gets the well-rounded recovery process with it. We've got a couple people on here who are going through OI or have been through OI. And they're in the rehab process. And it's definitely a, get your butt kicked.
But if you, it's so apparent, and it's such a mirror in front of you of the effort you put into it is the quality of life you're going to get out of it. And it was, there was days that my wife was like, let's go. Like, you're going to get your butt kicked no matter what. Like, let's get in there, sweat a little bit. You can come home and cry about it later. I'll get you some Chick-fil-A. Okay. And I was like, wait a second. Did you say Chick-fil-A and fries? Because then I'm really getting up now. Now I'm really but it was such a tough deal because your body at 40 with doing 20 years in the Army, like, you're so beat down. Your body is so worn out. And I don't know how many times I looked at her and I was like, I'm quitting right now. I'm going to quit, and you're going to take this thing out of my leg. I'm going to go home and I'll cry there. It was so tough. And it was such a new experience, but learning everything about it, it's amazing what the doctors can do. It's amazing how they do it, but it's so individually based that I think that our data set that we have with patients with OI is a little skewed because these are all individuals. And there's not enough of us to really say how it's going to go with a bigger population, because my take on it is it's for me, but I don't think it's for everybody. I definitely don't have a sign on the corner like, hey, come talk to me about OI. That's not me at all, because I don't think it's for everyone. I think that in my situation, it was definitely for me. Mm-hmm. But if you're not willing to put in, think about when you lost your leg or had to go through learning how to walk again and putting on your first socket and all that work. Times that by about 30, and then it's going to be harder than that. And it's just so much harder. It's a awesome deal, but you have to put the work in. If you don't put the work in, you're going to be back in a chair, back in on crutches or whatever. If you put the work in, there's some awesome benefits. There's some great benefits to it. It's just, it does take a lot of work.
Yep. And with that, we are going to, hang on guys, I just posted, hopefully it went through this time. It's that gremlin. There it is. Ha! It works. All right, guys. Last giveaway. So this is going to be a full size kit. So a full daily cleanser, full daily moisturizer, full liquid to powder, can't talk this evening, and full nighttime moisturizer. So the link I just posted there, go to that link and tell me what is the title of the first video of the educational series that Vital Fit is doing. What is the subject of what we're talking about on that video? And put it in the comment section. Go. All right, so we talked a little bit about your experience of going through OI, but we never really talked about how you met Greg and Vital Fit and that connection.
Okay, nice.
Probably going, if he's got OI, what's the like?
So I met Greg many years ago. I showed up at a prosthetic event, and I was going to be a patient, and so a patient model, in which I thought I would just lay there and they would take pictures of me, and I'd be like, no, but that's not it at all. It's this class where they were doing something called the Marlowe socket, and it was a very aggressive socket at the time. The other patient model was Greg Benino. So we meet, and we're fast friends. He's a funny guy. He's the nicest guy I've ever met. And so we hit it off. So we're this patient model for this whole class. Well, with us, we've got a bit of a sense of humor, but in this class, you have to wear basically your underwear the entire day. So you have like a shirt on and like your underwear. Like that's and I'm not making this up, because everybody has to come around and make this socket on you. So they put like these little trousers on you, whatever, but you basically just have your underwear on. Well, during this time, you have about 15 prosthetists with their hands all over you. You're just getting mauled by them. And so me and Greg are just going back and forth, laughing about it, everything. So we strike up a great friendship, and then I find out how amazing he is in skiing and how much work he's done for veterans, for veterans that are injured, teach them how to ski again, and all the ski programs. And then I find out he's a prosthetist himself. The guy's so humble. He doesn't tell you anything, but he's amazing at everything he does. And how I found out about Vital Fit was he had these huge kind of hot spots on his leg that were kind of wearing through his skin from a socket, because the guy never stops. The guy I think he's made out of like crushed gravel and something else. I don't know. He's hard as woodpecker lips. So he was saying how his leg was going on through these problems, and he was using this kit. So I asked him what the kit was, and he explained it to me. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I've got a friend of mine that was in the military with me that could probably use this. Do you think we could get him in touch with this and see how he's doing? And so once we started talking about Vital Fit, we really started talking about how can we help others? Because every time I talk to Greg, it's always about how do we help others? And the best part about that is that's the same feeling that I get from Vital Fit, is how do we help others? It's not just for amputees. It's not just for extreme athletes. It's not just for this small demographic of people. Is it for everybody? And the Vital Fit kit is for everyone that has skin. So if you have skin, it's going to work for you. So we've been friends through all this. He's probably going to call me tonight. We always talk on Veterans Day. He's an amazing supporter, and he's done a lot for our men and women in uniform.
No, he's a great guy. And we have our last winner for the evening. We got Harsh. You are our winner. So Harsh, after this is over, send me a message on my CosiTalks Facebook so we can get the full size kit out to you. Daniel, it's been amazing. I haven't stopped laughing. My cheeks are hurting from all the laughing, and it was just enthralling listening to your story. Can't thank you enough. I know you've had a very rough week with travel.
We've been go. So me and Kristen can tackle anything. This was touch and go, but we made it happen. So it's a good team.
And so grateful. And again, thank you to Vital Fit. I've got one or two of the team members listening right now, guys. It's a pleasure working with the Vital Fit team. And being able to do a special event like today for Veterans Day. So something pretty near and dear to my heart. So once again, thank you to Vital Fit. Guys, thank you for all of you out there, our men and women who have served in our military. Thank you so much for your service. Thank you, Daniel. And
thank you very much for having me. Thank you. Thank you, Cosi.
My pleasure. So guys, I will be seeing you same bat time, same bat channel next week. We are kicking it old school CosiTalks style. So it's just going to be open season on the PT. Now's your chance to get me. So come bring your questions and hopefully I'll have some interesting answers for you next week. All right, guys, sign up for my email subscription and Instagram, and we will see y'all next week. God bless.